YouTube, Steve here with another video. I was so excited to have posted my first video yesterday, my first video in several months, that it really left me with kind of a refreshed feeling. I felt good about it. So I wanted to do another video as soon as I could, follow that up, and I thought, well, my last video was about film noir on Blu-ray. Why not do a video on the 2015 Criterion Collection film noir output from 2015. I already said that. Anyway, what if I just did a video highlighting all the films noir from the Criterion Collection this year? And I think I have enough to make a video, so I'm going to try to. Big fan of film noir. When I first read Eddie Mahler's book, Dark City, The Lost World, The Forgotten World of Film Noir, that just hooked me onto film noir. And I read that in college, and I've been hooked ever since. And I've been fortunate enough to actually attend the Noir City Film Festival in San Francisco. I live in Virginia, so that required me to get on a plane. So that was kind of a big deal for me, but I was able to kind of rub elbows with some of the higher-ups at the Film Noir Foundation, and I got to meet and shake the hand, and actually kiss the hand of Peggy Cummins, who was the star of the noir classic Gun Crazy. So that was pretty nice. And she and my wife actually had a long conversation about horses. They both love horses. So, anyway, needless to say, I'm a pretty big fan, and so whenever a noir film comes out on DVD or Blu-ray, I am very quick to pick that up. And the first film that was released this year by Criterion, film noir, from 1947, this was released back in April, I want to say. It is Robert Montgomery's Ride the Pink Horse, which I kind of like the cover art. I didn't like it at first, but it's a very good likeness of Robert Montgomery there. Robert Montgomery stars in, and he also directs this film. And it's got some great cinematography, some really interesting shots and angles, and kind of keeping in line with that noir aesthetic. And which back then it wasn't really an aesthetic, but it's since become an aesthetic. That said, I didn't like this movie. I was not a fan. I found it to be drawn out, just tedious, really boring. I felt like the film didn't really go anywhere, and it sucks. It really sucks, because this is a film that I've been reading about for years, and the only copies that I could find online were just really horrible, like VHS copies, prints online, and I decided if I can't see it in a decent format, then I don't want to see it at all. So, of course, this is a more than decent format, and I'm disappointed. I was talking to some of my friends online on Facebook. I'm in a couple different film noir groups on Facebook, and I was talking about the film and my disappointment of it, and they all kind of regarded me as like, what's wrong with you? How can you not like this film? I didn't. I did go out and I found on eBay a cheap paperback copy of the book, which was written by Dorothy Hughes. So I'm going to read that and give this some time, and I'm gonna, let it marinate a little bit, and I'll revisit it. They can't all be winners, though. But don't let that stop you from watching this, because obviously I'm in the minority here on how I feel about this film. Ride the Pink Horse. Once again, from 1947. Some pretty good special features. It has an audio commentary featuring film noir historians Alain Silver and James Orsini, who are the worst commentators in the world. I hate it when every time I see a film with a commentary track with them, because they couldn't make a subject, which I find fascinating, they couldn't make a subject feel so boring. I often wonder if they even like what they're talking about. they make a lot of assumptions and presumptions about a lot of what they talk about that I think they're completely off the mark. Sorry. I guess Criterion hires them because they are scholarly, but not in a good way. If I were Criterion, I would hire Eddie Muller. He's the president of the Film Noir Foundation. He was the host of the TCM Summer of Darkness this past couple months. He would be the best person to do it. The guy has an encyclopedic knowledge of not only film noir, but just film in general. So he'd be the guy to do it. Criterion, if you're watching this, and I know you're probably not, but if you are, get Eddie on the phone. Tell him I sent you. The second film, excuse me, that I picked up from Criterion Collection Blu-ray, Film Noir 2015. This, I believe, was released in June, or maybe May. It might have been May. From 1947, film starring James Mason, Kathleen Ryan, directed by Carol Reed. And if you're saying Carol Reed, that sounds familiar, that's because Carol Reed was the director of the classic Third Man. So, I mean, he did a lot of other films besides Third Man, but that's probably the one he's most known for. But the one I am very excited to have on Blu-ray from Criterion, this is Odd Man Out. Sort of a Irish political noir. Really beautiful stuff in this movie. Carol Reed and his cinematographers just do just a beautiful job in their execution of some of the shots and scenes and his direction in this movie. And I'm a big James Mason fan. I can't do a James Mason impersonation for anything, but it doesn't stop me from trying. Here's the interior. Actually, you know what? I'm going to take out the disc and the little booklet and show you the backside there. Really great stuff there. Great scene from the film. So this was a film that I actually own on an English Blu-ray, which actually was pretty good, but I think actually watching this movie on Criterion, I think there's actually more information in the frame on the Criterion. That and the special features are a lot better as well. A couple different documentaries, just some good stuff. So, Odd Man Out, if you've never seen it, check it out. The Criterion version is the way to go. It's the only way to go, I think, in the U.S. So, and certainly let me know what you think if you haven't seen it before. Third film in Criterion's year of noir, it seems. Their third release, Blu-ray release this year. It's actually two films, but I really think of it as just one film that has another film as a special feature. But anyway, it is The Killers. This was a re-release, but it needed it, and I'm glad that they did it. I had the original DVDs, but I was very much looking forward to putting those to bed and having this on a definitive Blu-ray. The first film was from 1946, starring Burt Lancaster, Ava Gardner, Edmund O'Brien. Am I missing anybody? Those are the big ones anyway. It's a great film, based on, well, very loosely based on a short story by Ernest Hemingway called The Killers. And if you watch the 46 version, the first scene in it, which features Charles McGraw and the guy who did the voice for Matt Dillon in Gunsmoke on the radio. What is his name? William Conrad. If those two characters, they're the killers. And the first scene is actually the entire length of the short story. So you get the whole thing. And the rest of the film is just filling in the blanks, or the giant blanks, I guess, from there. two killers walk into a sort of diner, and they talk about going to kill somebody. And first they order dinner. That was the short story. This just expounds on that. So, the second, and it's billed as two movies, so I guess you could say it's two movies. The second film is The Killers. It was another adaptation, although it has almost nothing to do with the short story or the 46 film. It's an adaptation from 1964, directed by Don Siegel, starring Lee Marvin, who else? John Cassavetes, Angie Dickinson, Ronald Reagan, who's just a real scumbag in this movie. I believe this was his last film appearance that he did before he went into politics. And actually, this was filmed, The Killers was actually meant to be a TV movie, but the studio thought it was too violent, and so they released it theatrically. And here's the DVD, the Blu-ray, both movies on one disc. So, special features, it has a few. There's a few. Most of these, I want to say, are just ported over from the original DVD release. Actually, in the UK, Masters of Cinema released both versions of The Killers separately. And I really don't get that, because, and maybe it's just me, but I find the 64 version of The Killers to be, it's entertaining. Oh, absolutely entertaining, but it certainly doesn't, I don't think it deserves its own standalone release. At least I don't think so. It's more of a curiosity to me. I mean, yeah, it's directed by Don Siegel. Yeah, it stars Lee Marvin and John Cassavetes and Angie Dickinson and Ronald Reagan, and well, maybe it does actually. Maybe it does deserve its own release. I've just talked myself out of it, folks. Jeez, Louise. Okay. The final Criterion Film Noir Blu-ray release of 2015 is actually my favorite. And before I even say anything else, let me preface that by saying that 2015 ain't over yet, and I believe Criterion has released their releasing schedule through October. So we still have November and December yet to see if they release anything else noir-wise. I'd love to get like another Nikatsu Noir set, or they released the Eclipse line of Criterion, released about 5 or 6 years ago, Nikatsu Noir, which was a really great kind of a box set of kind of hard to find, obscure little crime films from Japan. So I'd love to have something like that, but nothing can compete with this release. I don't care what they release the rest of the year. This will be my release, my favorite release of the year for Criterion. It is from 1950, Night in the City. Yep. Night in the City. What I would consider a perfect film noir. You got Richard Widmark right there. You've got Stanislaw Zabisco. He plays a sort of a famous wrestler. And this, I think it's Mike. I think it's supposed to be Mike Mazurki, but it may be Herbert Lom. I'm not sure about that, because the way this scene actually goes in the film, it's not quite the same setup right there. So anyway, I love the cover art though. Here's the back. This to me is just an amazing film, directed by Jules Dassin, or Jules Dassin. I think it's Dassin. I think I've heard him say Jules Dassin. It was shot completely in on the streets of London, so it has a beautiful, beautiful look. Love the cinematography. And it starts out with Richard Widmark's character, Harry Fabian. He's running through the streets of LA, London, trying to get away from somebody that he owes money to. And that pretty much sets the tone for the whole film. It's Richard Widmark, and he's just got that get-rich-quick attitude. He's always got something going on, but he's always owing people money. So he's always running away from debtors, and he's just crazy throughout the whole film, and totally ignoring his girlfriend, played by Gene Tierney. Now, if I had a girlfriend... Okay, well, if I weren't married, and I had a girlfriend that was Gene Tierney, I would not be doing any of those things. The whole film revolves around Richard Widmark's character coming up with a boxing racket, and he ends up pissing off just about everybody in the film. It has a very interesting conclusion. So, I would say this is definitely got to pick this movie up. And what's even better, this was a DVD release, so technically this is a re-release. But this has some other stuff with it that was not included in the DVD release. Notably, it has the complete 101-minute British version of the film. There are some edits in the film, and apparently, I haven't actually watched that version yet. I've been kind of saving up for it. But apparently there's some pretty interesting changes in the English version, so I'm looking forward to seeing that. It's worth noting that the film, directed by Jules Dassin, it's worth noting that this was his last Hollywood film. Jules Dassin had done a lot of work for MGM and 20th Century Fox, but during the communist witch hunt, he was a casualty of the witch hunt. He was blacklisted. He was kind of sold out by what's his name? Elia Kazan. So Darryl Zanuck told Dassin to run to England and film this movie. He said, get the script out quick, film the movie as fast as you can, because it's probably the last film you'll ever make in Hollywood. And it wasn't, but it certainly was the last film that he made during the classic period of Hollywood. He went to Europe and made a lot of really great films, most notably, in my opinion, Rafifi in France. So I want to show you the interior. There's the disc. Now I want to show you the fold-out road map essay they have here. And usually I would be bitching about that right now, but this is actually pretty interesting. This is actually folds out, and you've got I'll show you. You've got a kind of a tabloid style booklet, essay, should I say? But on the other side, you've got you've got a poster. If you can see that. I'm trying to get it so you can see that. That's Richard Widmark, Harry Fabian. He's running through the streets of London. I really like this, and I'm considering framing it, or maybe, or at least putting it up somewhere. I don't know. We'll see about that. But anyway, love that release. Love Night at the City. So that pretty much completes my journey through the Criterion Collection Blu-ray film noir from this year. Criterion has actually released quite a few really good films noir. Kiss Me Deadly, The Killing, Killer's Kiss, Night of the Hunter, great film. Lots of great French noir, some Japanese noir, yeah. So anyway, thank you for watching this video. I'm planning on doing some updates from my Laserdisc collection. I was talking to Culture Dog Sam Hatch, and yeah, it's time for me to kind of show off some Laserdiscs that I've been kind of hoarding since my last Laserdisc video. I got some pretty good stuff that I want to show. So that probably will be my next video. I thank you for watching. Once again, comment, like, and subscribe. And until next time, adios.